Okay. So this presentation is now being recorded and it will be uploaded to our website. And I will send out the link to the presentation, the PowerPoint, and the recording later on after the meeting, okay? So we would like to welcome you to an MSU. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're so happy to have you here. It's been a difficult year and there's a lot of challenges that you had to overcome to be here at NMSU. So we're really happy that you are here with us today. So before we start, I just want to talk about the ground rules a little bit about this meeting. So there are a lot of participants in this meeting. So the default microphone setting is on mute and will remain on mute throughout the presentation. But if you have any questions, of course, feel free to send it in the chat. So let me type, send your questions here. And that is where you can type your questions in. At the end of the presentation, we will answer the questions that you have sent in the chat. If we do not get to your questions because of the time constraint, please email isss@nmsu.edu with your name and ACCI ID number or date of birth so that we can answer your questions later on. And like I've mentioned before, if you were just joining us, this presentation will be sent on the FSN, the Foreign Student Network listserv. And I'll double check that everybody who has attended is on the listserv so that you will get the link and the PowerPoint to this presentation later, okay? Next, let's meet the ISSS staff. I'm sure you have communicated with us before, but now is the time to put the names with the faces. Of course, the first is Matthew Lara. He is our Associate Director. Padma Reddy is our International Student Advisor. My name is Supapit or BB Kanti. I'm also an International Student Advisor. Today, we're also joined by Kylie Arieta. She's our ISSS Program Coordinator. Diane Goldbrick is not here with us today, but she's our Immigration Specialist. And we have Desiree Martinez and Juliana Casillas, who are both our student workers. Our special guest today that you will hear from later on is Dr. Denise Esquivel. She's the Associate Dean from the Graduate School. If you have any questions for the Graduate School, here's the email address. It's gradinfo@nmsu.edu. Thank you, Dr. Esquivel, for joining us today. So first thing first, let me share a poll. If you could answer, are you a graduate or undergraduate student? So a graduate student is somebody who is pursuing a master's or a doctorate degree, and undergraduate is a student who's pursuing a bachelor's or associate degrees. Okay. Still waiting for a couple more people to answer. Graduate or undergraduate? Okay, so let me end the poll. And here is the result. So it's a good mix today, mostly graduate students and some undergraduate students. Thank you for answering. Another question for you. Which of the following applies to you? So if you're in the US, it's the first choice. Number 2 is you will be arriving soon. And number 3, you're taking online classes from outside of the US for the fall 2021 semester. Okay. All right, let me share the result. So we're happy to see that a lot of you have already arrived in the US, and those who will be arriving soon, We wish you a safe and not too, a safe and not too many turbulences during your travel. And there is one student who is taking online classes from outside of the US. So thank you for being here as well. And we have a dedicated section for those taking online classes at the end of the presentation. Okay. All right, so this portion of the presentation is for new students who are in the US or will be arriving in the US. So with that, let me hand the presentation over to Kylie.
Good morning, everyone. As Phoebe mentioned, I'm Kylie Arietta. I'm the International Student Program Coordinator for ISSS. Many of you have probably already communicated with me if you have gone through new international student orientation. So for new students who will be attending NMSU in person, this is very important information regarding COVID-19 safety guidelines upon your arrival. So based off CDC guidelines, if you have arrived on campus from another country, either by plane or by vehicle, if you are vaccinated, you should get tested 3 to 5 days after travel, and you should self-monitor for COVID-19 symptoms. If you are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, please get tested 3 to 5 days after you have traveled. And the most important thing is to remember to stay home and self-quarantine for 7 days, because that is a recommended guidance from the CDC for people who are unvaccinated at this time or partially vaccinated. Please note that if you have received only one of the 2 required doses, you are not considered fully vaccinated if your vaccine requires 2 doses. Also note that if you have received vaccines that are not either Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson, please contact the Aggie Health and Wellness Center for further guidance related to the vaccine that you may have taken. That is their email right there, where Aggie Health and Wellness can be reached. Students, please also remember to bring face coverings with you and to have face coverings with you on campus, because they are currently required in every NMSU building. They are also required in the ISSS office and when you have an appointment in the ISSS office, so when you are advised. So please make sure you have those face coverings and those masks with you. Those are required regardless of vaccination status. So checking in with ISSS, one of the most important things that you will need to be sure you have finished before you have signed up for classes and before you are able to sign up for classes is you will need to have finished the new International Student Orientation course. That's NISO. NISO has 2 parts. So part 1 is modules 1 through 32. After you have finished part 1, you can reach out to me, you should reach out to me, and then I'll be able to lift your orientation hold from our office, and that will allow you to be able to get advised and register for classes. The second part of NISO is module 33. This is for students who will come to NMSU in person to take classes. So those students will need to complete module number 33, which is documentation submission, as well as submitting a video check-in. Please submit this before, well, the date was today for the deadline for module number 33, August 13th. So for submission of documents as well as that video check-in. But of course, if you have not already done that and you're maybe possibly going to arrive late, please just make sure that you submit as many items as possible in module 33 as soon as possible. There are only maybe 1, 2, a couple items that are going to require you to be on campus to submit those items in module 33. So just make sure that you submit everything in module 33 as soon as you can.
Okay, thank you, Kylie, for the information. Next, Padma.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying dry after the yesterday's night's rain. I missed the fun, but welcome to NMSU, and I'm so happy that you're here. As a new international student who have an I-20 from ISS office, even if you're a continuing student and you have a new I-20 from ISS office, and joining the program newly at NMSU, all students will have to register for at least one hybrid class. And you also have to register for a full course load. A full course load is 9 credits for graduate students and 12 credits for undergraduate students. We will talk about the exceptions. Border commuters, students who are from Mexico and who have a border commuter I-20 from ISS office must be part-time. And if you have approved reduced course load from ISS office, which we will talk in depth later on, then we will make sure that please make sure that you registered for the required number of courses, and please do not drop the classes before our approval. And students who are in their final semester, they have to submit their reduced course load form. And like we said, we will talk a little bit more. For summer semesters, summer is an optional semester, hence you can register full-time, part-time, or no classes. It's your choice. If you want to register full-time, it's your choice. You can register part-time. In the summer, you can register for all online or all hybrid or a combination. There are no requirements. Next. I also keep getting questions about what is a hybrid class. Hybrid class is a combination of online instruction and classroom. This does meet the requirement of a classroom-based class. So please do register for at least one, either the traditional classroom-based class or a hybrid class. For a hybrid class, the meeting days and the times will depend on the program or the course. Please contact your academic advisors with questions about the class type and meeting days and times. Before you are eligible for registration, you must complete new international student orientation. I'm assuming that you all have completed at this time. If you have not, please do so. And if you have not started, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to my colleague, Kylie Arietta. And here is her email. Graduate students, we recommend that you also attend the new student graduate orientation hosted by the graduate school. Dr. Denise Escobar will talk about it a little later in the chat. Yeah, next. Now let's talk about reduced course load. For students who have never been in the US and this is their first semester at NMSU or are eligible for these following reduced course load. If there is an improper course level placement, and this is only in the first semester, and for this, we will need your academic advisor's email clarification. This reduced course load is required when a student who hasn't finished their prerequisite but was placed in a higher level of course and he's unable to continue, then the academic advisor will have to write a clarification if there are no other alternative courses that the student is able to register. And the student is eligible to drop only 3 credits of their 9 credits if they are graduate students, and 3 credits if they are from their undergraduate if they are of the 12 credits. And initial difficulty with reading requirement. This is for students who have never been in the US before studying at another school, and this is only for the first semester. Unfamiliarity with American teaching methods. This is for students who have never been in the US before studying at another school. And then the fourth one is initial difficulty with English language. The accent may be quite different from the English language from your home country to here. This is what indicates that. And students who have medical condition can also apply for a reduced course load. Please contact me and I will be able to give you more details how to go about it. Next. The reduced course load form can be found on our ISS website. Here is the link. If you have a graduate assistantship, please check with graduate school. If you qualify for the reduced course load, for your assistantship. Please make sure that you always maintain your full course load and to maintain your F1 status. Please do not drop the classes before ISS approves the reduced course load. Next. Here is how your I-20 will look like. This, please note, this is a sample, and this is only a part of the I-20 first page of the I-20. We wanted to make you aware how to look at your I-20. On the top red arrow mark, you will see your SEVIS ID. Each student will have their own SEVIS ID number, and if they have dependents, they will have their own ID number attached. And in the first rectangle that it gives you your personal information, like your name, your last name, first name, country of birth, country of citizenship, city of birth, date of birth. And in the same form, you will also know the form issuance reason, that is the initial attendance. If you are a new student, it will indicate that it will show as initial attendance, which means that you have to register for at least one hybrid class this fall 2021 and spring 2022. Next, green arrow, if you look at it, shows the school information. And it will show not the school name that you are admitted to, and the school address and the school official that you need to contact upon your arrival. And the purple arrow indicates your education level. If you are admitted for bachelor's, then it will indicate bachelor's. And if you are admitted for master's, then it will indicate master's or PhD, whatever it is. The major is, if you are admitted to College of Business, then it will indicate you're there. Or if you are admitted to engineering, then it will indicate in the major one field. If you are pursuing a double major, then the major, it will reflect on the major number 2 here. Please remember, you always have to have an I-20 reflecting your current educational level and your major at all times. If at any given point of time, if you're trying to change your major or your education level, please contact our ISS office and we will be able to help you with your I-20. And in this also, it will also state for, in this sample I-20, for all students, it also indicates the start date of your classes, which is August 18th. And the program start date, we indicated 9th of August, so that you have plenty of time to arrive here and self-quarantine and start your classes on time. That's the reason why we give international students. Even when we did not have COVID, we would indicate this earlier start date, so students would have sufficient time as they are coming from an international country, and most of them for the first time, and they wouldn't know many of the things to adjust, like getting housing, opening a bank account, getting a TB test, etc., or making friends, or registering for classes, all of those things, and getting acclimatized to NMSU and its environment. The end date is also reflected here. It depends on your program of educational level. If you're a master's student, then your I-20 is valid for 2 years. If you're a PhD, it is for 4 years, and so is for bachelor's. For associates also, it is for 2 years. So every I-20 has its own unique date, start date and end date. Please reflect on your I-20, and if it is going to expire, please contact ISS office for extension of your I-20. I will be able to help you with the extension. Thank you. Next. Now let's talk about the I-20 second page. On the second page of the I-20 at the top left side will again reflect your SEVIS ID number, and on the right side will reflect your name. The bottom column, which is highlighted in red, and there is an arrow, you have to get your I-20 signed on the second page every 6 months. This signature from our office indicates to the Border Patrol agent that you have registered at NMSU as a full-time student, and that you are pursuing your full course load at NMSU. If you do not get your signatures from your ISS office every 6 months, you may have some issues with crossing the border or traveling within Las Cruces itself. So please get those signatures every 6 months from our office. To receive a travel signature on the second page, you must be registered full-time. If ISS has approved your reduced course load and you're eligible for an I-20 travel signature, you must have an I-20 with you at all times with ISS stamp signature on the second page. Please remember, it is your responsibility to send an email to ISS office for travel endorsement. For new students, please send us an email after August 25th, and we will be able to help you with the I-20 signature. This signature also confirms that you have registered for classes full-time, and we have registered you in the immigration system called SEVIS. Until we register you in the immigration system called SEVIS, your I-9 will not be active, and so will not be your SSN, and so will be your driver's license. Please do not go to the SSN office or driver's license or I-9 without signatures, or please contact our office for signature. Please remember once again that the travel signatures must be renewed every 6 months. Next. I know it is too early to talk about I-20 extension, but I wanted to talk in this so that students are aware. I-20 extension does not take you to submit as a small form. This I-20 extension, if you're unable to complete your program of study within the stipulated date reflected on your I-20, then you have to submit this form, wherein as we are not into academics, we depend on you and your academic advisor to complete the form and email it to ISS office. Please remember that we are unable to extend your form after it has expired, and you will be in a lot of immigration issues if your I-20 expires. So please do make sure that your I-20 is valid at all times. And in this current sample of the I-20, if you look at it, it is going to expire on 31st of August 2025. Can we go back to 31st of August 2025? And in the year 2025, the student will need to contact ISS office if they're unable to finish their program, not today, 4 years earlier. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, please remember that it takes about 4 to 5 business days for us to extend an I-20, so please plan accordingly. Thank you. Next slide, please. Let's talk a little bit about your passport. Your passport is given by your home country that you come from, and it will reflect your citizenship. Please note that if your passport is going to expire in 6 months, then please contact your embassy or consulate in the US to renew your passport. Remember that always you need to have a valid I-20 and a valid passport with you at all times. Note, if you have your F1 visa in your passport, please plan, and you plan to travel outside of the US, you will need to apply for a new visa. You can legally stay in the US on an expired visa, but you always need to have a valid passport and an I-20. If your passport is going to expire soon, please contact your embassy and they'll be able to help. I know because of COVID, many embassies and consulates are unable to process in a timely manner the renewal of your passport. To not have any issues with your immigration, request your proof of passport renewal letter from your embassy or consulate, and they will be glad to do that for you. Or any kind of a proof that you are able to get that you have already applied for a renewal of your passport. That would be awesome for you. Otherwise, you may have some immigration issues with the Border Patrol agents. Next.
Thank you, Padma.
Thank
So for this portion of the presentation, we'll open the floor up for any questions for Dr. Esquivel and the graduate school. So far, I've received one, which is about the new graduate student orientation. If Dr. Esquivel could explain a little bit about the graduate school orientation, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bibi. Welcome to New Mexico State University. We look forward to working with each and every one of you and helping you to complete your degree as you pursue it through NMSU. Let's talk about new student orientation. If you are admitted to New Mexico State University, you have been added or should have been added to the Canvas course for new student graduate orientation. The orientation is a requirement and it will help you guide your journey through NMSU and the process that's needed to get your degree. Within the orientation, there's a couple of items that we need to talk about real quickly, and this will help us to answer the questions. As a new graduate student, you must be enrolled in 9 credit hours. If you've been offered a graduate assistantship and you are not yet enrolled, you cannot be hired or paid until that enrollment has taken place. If you do not get enrolled, that's going to delay your first paycheck. Money is everything. We need to make sure that you're getting paid. And that is a graduate assistantship for teaching, research, or other. When it comes to your enrollment, some of you do have to enroll in the English language testing or courses. Those courses will be completed or counted towards your 9 hours of enrollment. Your deficiency in English must be completed within the first year of study at New Mexico State. We cannot delay it after that. Also, currently, if you are enrolled in graduate school, you are coded as a non-resident. As a non-resident, you're paying out-of-state tuition. So once you are hired, the coding will take place and place you into a graduate status, a graduate assistant status, which will then give you the in-state tuition numbers. So just be patient with us. We are working on those every day, and we're dealing with about 800 students total. So they will get coded and your tuition will be adjusted. If you've been awarded a fellowship or scholarship through New Mexico State University Graduate School, you must be enrolled in 9 credits, and many of the programs require that you be hired as a grad assistant. So we will do that as well. So make sure that everything is followed, that you are following your enrollments. Make sure you meet with your advisor to be able to talk about your degree plan and how to get things accomplished. The important thing to remember is that you've got to stay current with your I-20 based on the level that you're studying, 2 years or 4 years. Make sure that everything is up to date and your signatures are obtained. One thing to remember is that you cannot be hired as a grad assistant if you do not have a social security number. So you've got to make sure you have the signature from ISS on your I-20 or your I-9 form, whichever is required, to make sure you can get that social security number and that driver's license. Any other questions? Oh, one more thing before I forget. If you are an online student and strictly taking your courses from your home country as an online graduate student, you are not authorized to be hired as a graduate assistant, and that is set by the university security system as that pertains to access to student records. So that is something very important to remember as well. Bibi, any other questions?
Yes, could you explain what the new graduate student orientation is?
Okay, new graduate student orientation is going to walk you through the different areas of graduate school. You need to have a program of study. You need to make sure that you're following your plan to be able to complete your degree. It talks to you about registering for classes. It will talk to you with regards to completing your degree. What are the requirements? What do you need to do to get registered for courses every semester? One big thing that our students have a problem with is that you cannot have a balance of more than $1,000 to be able to register for the next semester. So make sure that you're making your monthly payments on your account so that you can continue to register for your courses. That is critical. It talks about the entire process of graduate school, who your advisors are, what are your resources, where can you find help if you're needing help, and what are your rights as a student.
And how can the students, the graduate students, sign up for the graduate student orientation?
If you have not been added to the course for graduate student orientation and received the email, send a message to gradinfo@nmsu.edu and somebody will add you to the course.
Thank you so much for answering the questions. Okay, perfect. So Tetsuya was just asking about the orientation. So just to be clear, there are two different things, right? The graduate school orientation is different from the new international orientation.
Yes. And you only have to attend or graduate school orientation one time. So once you've done it, you're done.
Perfect. Looks like so far there hasn't been any other questions.
Okay.
Exactly, Tetsuya. There are two different courses in Canvas. Okay.
All right. Thank you and welcome. I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Esquivel. We appreciate your time. All right, so if you have more questions for the graduate school, of course, you can contact gradinfo@nmsu.edu. So there are a lot of questions coming in. I'm gonna take note of that and then answer them at the end. So I may not be able to answer right away. So thank you for your patience and we'll address, there's some similar questions. So it's good for other students to know as well. So we'll address them at the end. For now, there was a lot of information. So let's take a quick 5-minute break, stretch, and then we'll come right back. Thank you. Okay, so for those of you who are back already, we have a quick pop quiz portion. So I'll go ahead and pull up the first one. See, one moment. Okay, so while we wait for others to come back, go ahead and answer the first true or false question. There's only one correct answer. Okay, so far everybody's getting the correct answer. Okay. Is that everyone? Couple of more people still thinking? Okay. Let me stop the poll and then I will share the results. Wow, awesome. So I'm really happy to hear that everybody got the correct answer, which is, of course, true. This is very important. Please be sure that you're registered for the full course load. For graduate students, it's 9 credits, and then for undergraduate students, it's 12 credits. Okay. And of course, if you can't register for full course load because of a medical reason or academic difficulty, as Padma has explained earlier, you will need to submit the reduced course load form before you drop below the full course load. All right. There is another question for you. No worries if you didn't get the poll. The most important thing is that you remember that for graduate credits, it's 9, full course load is 9, and for undergraduate, it's 12. Number 2, true or false? You need to have at least one in-person or hybrid class. Like the last question, there's only one correct answer. And if you recall, hybrid class is a class with some in-person classes plus online classes. That's why it's hybrid, it's mixed, okay? And in-person, of course, is a class where you need to go sit in the classroom and be there in person. Okay, so we don't have 100% correct this time, but that's okay. I'm still waiting for a couple more people. All right. So let me end the poll now. And here's the result. The majority of people got it right. The answer is true. This is very important to maintain your F1 status. You need at least one in-person or hybrid classes. If you have more than one, that's perfectly fine. If all your classes are in person or if it's all in hybrid, perfectly fine. But as long as you have a minimum of one, you're good to go. Okay. So let's move on to the next part of the presentation, and I will hand this back to Padma.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a nice, sweet, short break. Tuition, and let's talk here about your tuition and fee charges. All tuition charges and fees are posted by University Accounts Receivable Office. And this office is also called UAR office. So that is what we mean when you say UAR office. For any questions about the tuition payment deadlines, please contact UAR office. And if you need some options about the payment, please contact them. And for the current tuition and fee rates, here are the links, excuse me, that you can take, you can get for the current tuition rates. For any questions about UAR, if you would like to go in person and talk to them, they are in the Educational Services building, and all the departments, including ISS office, graduate school, undergraduate admissions, and student records office, financial aid, UAR, we are all in Educational Services building. So this is a one-stop all for you all students if you have any questions. Thank you. Next. Students who have Discovery, students who are from Mexico, and they don't need to apply for the Discovery tuition, but the tuition rate will be adjusted within the first week of after classes begin. So please wait. But if it does not adjust after 2 weeks, then please contact financial aid office. They will be able to best assist you. As Discovery tuition rate is a scholarship, and scholarships are offered by financial aid office. For graduate assistantship, please contact graduate school and they'll be able to best assist you. And if you are awarded international competitive scholarship, congratulations. We are very glad that you have been awarded a competitive scholarship. Please make sure that you register for 15 credits if you are an undergraduate student. I know we just said that for undergraduate, the requirement is at least 12. That is for immigration purposes. But if you are a recipient of international competitive scholarship, then you have to register for 15 credits. This is the financial aid requirement and the Department of State's requirement. And then students who are awarded competitive scholarship who are in the graduate school, they can register for 9 credits, continue to register for 9 credits. Now, students who have graduated from a high school in New Mexico in the last academic year, they will be coded for in-state tuition. If you have any questions about it not reflecting, please contact undergraduate office and UAR office. Between the two of them, they should be able to help you resolve your in-state. But please wait for 1 week. Next. Let's talk about NMSU health insurance. In most of your countries, I'm sure the health insurance insurance is not a big deal. I'm sure the health insurance fees are also not a big deal, but in the US, it is phenomenally high. And as an international student, we mandate that you have to have insurance with you at all times. Currently, your insurance as a new student is going to be valid from August 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2022. The cost of insurance for fall 2021 is $804, which will be charged to your student account. Your tuition charges, your insurance charges, if you are in NMSU housing, all of them will be posted to your NMSU student account. So it's a one-stop all for your charges. But if you are living in a private housing, then it will not be posted on your student account. Anyway, coming back to the health insurance, the charges will be posted to your student account by Aggie Health and Wellness Center by the first week of September. Although the charges will be posted late, it does not mean that you do not have a valid insurance. You do have a valid insurance. Please remember to pay your insurance charges in full by March 15, 2022. Otherwise, you will not be able to register for future semesters. If you have any questions about insurance, health insurance related, please contact Angela King and she'll be able to best assist you. With your insurance, please contact Aggie Health, if you have any medical issues, please, your first point of contact should always be Aggie Health and Wellness. And if they think that you have a serious concern, then they will recommend that you go to a specialist. Otherwise, you will be paying a lot more money from your pocket. Next. Now, how do you get your health insurance card? You can go to Aggie Health and Wellness Center and they'll be able to assist you. You can also go to GeoBlue insurance account and you can register here. Here is the link. You can register using your first name, last name, date of birth, and then the certificate will be sent to you via email. If you need help, right away contact 800-537-1777 to retrieve your ID card, and they will be easy. And there is also a GeoBlue app which is easy to use. Additionally, you can reach out to Aggie Health and Wellness Center for picking up the replacement insurance card from them. And please email campus_health@nmsu.edu or contact them by phone 575-646-1512. If you do not have a GeoBlue insurance, then you will need to contact your Aggie Health and Wellness to see what is the process to retrieve a copy of your insurance card. Next, please. Some students who have insurance sponsored by the government or they are a dependent of a US-based employed sponsor plan, then these students will need to apply for insurance waiver every semester. For insurance waiver, please do not send the insurance card to ISS office. Please, like I said earlier, please reach out to Angela King. She is our NMSU liaison, and she'll be able to evaluate your proof of insurance and the medical plan summary to her, and she'll be able to evaluate. And if she gives the green signal, then you will not be charged for NMSU insurance. Remember, for the fall, the deadline to apply for insurance waiver is August 31st. For spring, the deadline to apply for insurance waiver is January 31st. If you fail to apply for the insurance waiver by August 31st for fall and January 31st for spring, then the student is liable to pay for the insurance. So please act fast and get your insurance charges waived if you already have an insurance. Next.
Okay, thank you, Padma, for the important information. Next, I will hand the presentation over to Matthew.
Thanks, Bibi. Hello, everybody, and again, welcome and thank you for spending some this time with us this morning, going over this important information. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So I want to go over some things related to employment and international students. So as an F1 student, you are eligible to work on campus only for up to 20 hours per week when school is in session. As an F1 student, you are eligible to work on campus only for more than 20 hours per week when school is not in session. In other words, summer break, winter break, spring break, during those times, you can work more than 20 hours on campus. When school is in session, you can only work up to 20 hours per week when school is in session. And at any given point, you are not eligible to work off campus without prior approval from ISSS. Working off campus may be considered a serious violation of your immigration status. And for additional questions, please reach out to our office. I want to be clear that the approval does not come directly from our office. We will petition the government for permission for a student to work off campus. And I can tell you from experience, it's very difficult to obtain that. It's very difficult. So again, at no point should you be working off campus. Okay, next slide, please. So in order to work on campus, you will need a social security number. A social security number is assigned to people who are authorized to work in the US. If you get an on-campus job, you must apply for a social security number at the local social security office. And you will need to bring a completed application for the social security number. You'll need your form I-20, your passport, visa, and a letter of support from our office. Something that you have to keep in mind when you do get a social security number, there are all kinds of scams out there that attempt to get people to give out their social security number. So it's very important that you know to never provide your social security number via phone or email to anyone. Even if they say they're from our office, the law enforcement, federal law enforcement, border patrol, banks, there will be no legitimate organization or individual that will call you or email you and ask you to provide your social security number. So never give it out. If somebody mistakenly does, call you and they need your social security number, don't do it. If they are legit, they will find a way to get that number from you in a secure manner, but never over the phone or email. Okay, next slide, please. So also, you will also need, if you have an on-campus employment, a graduate assistantship, or you're a tutor, you will need an ISSS letter of support for your social security number. So please email us your on-campus employment offer letter by August 16th. And then you would be able to pick up your letter of support from the ISSS office on August 19th. Again, if you've already been offered an on-campus employment and you've got the assistantship letter and the job offer letter, then please email that to us by August 16th, and you'll be able to pick up your letter on August 19th. It's got to be a physical copy with a wet signature. The local Social Security office will not accept anything else, so that's why we have to do it this way. Same thing if you need a driver's license, you'll need an ISSS letter of support. And just for that, we're asking that you please wait till after August 19th to send us arrangements to pick up that letter of support. We will want to take care of the Social Security number. Sorry, there's somebody coming in my office. We want to take care of the Social Security letters first, and then we'll take care of the driver's license after August 19th. Something very important to keep in mind whenever okay, back up a little bit. So we are just now transitioning back into the office and on campus. Up to just a couple of weeks ago, we've been all working remotely. Some of us still are working remotely. And so we are just now transitioning back onto campus and into the office. We've been moved. Our new offices are in a different part of the Educational Services building. So honestly, the best way to get a hold of us is going to be through email. If you email us at itriple-s.edu, we will be able to make arrangements to meet with you or help you via email. And remember, when you're emailing us and you're trying to reach us, please always include your name, your Aggie ID number, and your date of birth. We want to make sure that we are looking at the right student, that we have the correct record in front of us, and that we're serving the right student. So always include your name, your Aggie ID number, and your date of birth when you're reaching out to us via email. Next, please. I think that does it for me. We'll give it back to Bibi. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. So this next portion of the presentation is only for those students who are taking online classes from outside of the US. I believe we have one student. So if this section doesn't apply to you, just close your eyes and ears, okay? Because the regulations are quite different. All right, so let me hand over the next part to Kylie.
So yes, for new students who are going to be outside of the US taking online classes, what you all need to remember is that there is no restrictions on the number of online classes you need to take. So as Bibi mentioned, if you are in person, that is not the case. You have specific credit hours that you need to take if you're a graduate student or an undergraduate. But for those students studying online outside of the US, no restrictions on the number of online classes you can take. If you have already been issued an I-20 for fall 2021, but you will take online classes from outside the US, please be aware that your I-20 will be canceled by the end of August. When you do decide to come to NMSU in person, which we really hope that you will decide to do at some point, you will need to reach out to our office and ask for a new I-20, and we'll get you started with that process.
Thank you, Kylie. So we are at the end of the presentation. Now we're going to go over the questions that we have received in the chat. And I have organized them in the topics. So not really first come, first serve. So I'm trying to stay in one topic. Let's first start with registration. Okay, the first question is it okay if all my courses this semester are on campus? The courses I need for the degree are all on campus.
Yes, absolutely, yes. You can have all in-person classes and hybrid classes. You're very welcome to have all in-person classes, but you cannot have all online classes. The requirement is that you have to have at least one in-person class. That is it. Thank you. Thank you so much for that question.
Another great question. So if a student came to the US before March 2020, can they
Yes.
take online classes, just completely online?
If they were in the US and have been maintaining their F1 status since March 2020, then yes, they can take all online classes. But if they have been on another visa, then no, they're not eligible to take all online classes. So it depends. Are you in an F1 status at another school, maintaining your F1 status since March 2020? Then yes, you can take all online classes.
So that only applies to transfer students who have already been in the US on an F1, very important. Okay,
Yes.
Awesome. So quite a few questions about the TB testing. How can we get the TB test or clearance done?
TB test, students can contact Aggie Health and Wellness, and I am posting the link here for Aggie Health and Wellness Center, and they can reach out to them and submit their TB test done in the past 6 months from their home country, and submit it to them, and they will evaluate. Based on their evaluation, they can help you with giving a waiver, and if they give you a waiver, please upload that on module 33 because ISS does not have the ability to evaluate your TB test results from your home country or even from the US. So please submit it to Aggie Health and Wellness Center, and they will evaluate and give the waiver. If they say no, then you have to unfortunately do the TB test once again.
Okay, and I would like to add, because this is really important, a lot of students submit incorrect documents so far. So whatever you submit for your TB, it has to come from Aggie Health and Wellness Center, right? So unfortunately, if you have a doctor's note or you have a testing done by a different university, please speak to Aggie Health and Wellness. And I dropped the phone number right there in the chat. It says, please call 575-646-1512 to speak with a nurse who can review your TB records. Because the nurses are the ones who can, judge and make that decision on whether or not they can submit your TB clearance note. So just to clarify, there are 3 different options that you can submit for the TB test. The first one is make an appointment with Aggie Health and Wellness Center and send us the proof of the appointment. That's number 1. Number 2 is, if you have already done the appointment with Aggie Health and Wellness Center and you receive your test result from Aggie Health and Wellness Center, submit your test result, okay? And number 3, if you believe you have a TB test from a different place, different state, different country that you think will qualify for a TB clearance note, you can submit that test to Aggie Health and Wellness, and then they will give you the clearance note. So number 3 is the clearance note that you can submit. So again, 1, proof of appointment here. 2, test result from Aggie Health and Wellness, or 3, the TB clearance note from Aggie Health and Wellness. Sorry if I sound like a beating record, but I get repeated questions all the time, so I just want to make it clear. And I'm not sure, ISSS cannot say, yes, your test result is good for clearance. That's not for us to make that decision, so please refer to Aggie Health and Wellness Center, okay? All right. Let's see, I think we answered quite a few of the TB test questions already. So let's move on to the I-20. When do I get my original I-20? I currently have the online version that I printed while leaving my country.
That's a very good question. Your email I-20 is very good. In the past, ISS was not allowed to email I-20s, and we could only give you the hard copy of your I-20. So we would have to ship your I-20 if you are in your home country. But because of COVID, that restriction has been removed. So with your current I-20, it's very good for you to, of course, get a visa and also come to the US. It's also good for traveling within the US. But if you're trying to apply for SSN, then I'll have to give you the hard copy of your I-20. Otherwise, you do not need an I-20 hard copy of your I-20. So hence, you will not be given a new I-20 hard copy I-20 from our ISS office, as you don't need it.
And it's very important that you print the I-20 in color. The signature has to be in blue, okay?
Yes.
All right. This question is about Form I-94. It's very specific, and I don't think it applies to a lot of people. But the question is, when I go online to get my I-94 and I select that I am entering the US via airport, they do not let me get one. It says that I should get one at customs, but they didn't give me one.
So nobody, if you are traveling by flight, then in the past, they would staple a paper copy of I-94 to your passport. But now everything is online. I just posted a link to get your I-94. You can get the I-94 after your arrival to the US. Please wait for 24 hours, as systems may not have been updated. But after 24 hours, you should be able to get your I-94. If you still have any issues with your I-94, please feel free to reach out to our office, and do not forget to give your full name and your ID number. And always use your NMSU email, as you are NMSU students now.
Thank you, Padma. Moving on to Social Security number.
Yeah.
The question is, I am a self-funded student. Can I get Social Security number?
Social Security number is issued based on if you have an on-campus job or graduate assistantship of any type for the fall semester. Not based on if you are self-funded or if you're funded by your academic department or a scholarship or things like that. So remember that. So if you have any on-campus job or an assistantship, please email either me or ISS office with your name and ID number, and please attach your on-campus job or assistantship offer letter to the email, and write the subject line as requesting for SSN, and I'll be able to help you. Please email the document before August 13th, before August 16th, and I will be able to issue the I-9 SSN support letter on August 19th. Please come to my office and I'll be able to help you. But remember to submit your on-campus job offer before August 16th. Students who have submitted after August 16th, I will talk to you one-on-one basis.
So I think you, go ahead.
Students who do not have an on-campus job or an assistantship at this time, but if they have at a later point, please reach out to ISS office and we'll be able to help you gladly.
I think you already answered this question, but let me ask it again. When can I get my Social Security number?
Social Security number is given by the Social Security office. What ISS does is that we will write a support letter if you have an on-campus job or an assistantship. With the support letter and a hard copy of your I-20 and the job offer, along with your passport and passport copy and I-94 and SSN application, you will have to apply for SSN number. Social Security office used to take 2 to 3 weeks to process your SSN number, and they will mail your SSN number to the address listed on your application. That is the process of getting an SSN.
Right, and when you contact Padma, of course, you will provide more details on
Yes.
how to apply, you know, what materials do you need, where do you need to go. So
Yeah.
once
So
you
when
send
you
that,
come to my office on August 19th, I will walk you, I will give you an application for SSN, and I will also give you, of course, what are the documents that you need to take to the SSN office, along with the ISS support letter and a hard copy of your I-20 with travel endorsement on the second page. Along with that, I will also give you the address and also driving directions, and I'll also give you the scams that are happening and how you need to be careful. All of this you will get from me on August 19th. So I look forward to seeing you. Whoever submits me the assistantship offer letter or on-campus job offer letter before August 16th, I would look forward to seeing you on August 19th.
all right. Last question on Social Security number. If I already have a Social Security number from work at previous school, I can just use it, right?
Yes, you can use it. You will only get one Social Security number in your lifetime, so please use that. Please do not apply for it again.
Sounds good. Moving on to employment. Can I work on campus with an F1 as a commuter student?
That is a question I want Matthew to address.
As far as I know, commuter students are allowed to work on campus. And you have to go through everything else that the other F1 students need to go through as far as getting a social security number and providing us with a letter of employment so we can get you your letter of support for your social security number.
Okay, thank you. Another question on employment. Are there any assistance ISSS can provide regarding securing on-campus job for international students so that they can be eligible for SSN?
Office of Experiential Learning, you can go there and apply through Handshake for on-campus job, and you will be able to find some jobs. And please check some of the places like Taos, where they are hiring quite a few students, and they're waiting for students to get jobs. And Bibi has Superped also, her name, she prefers by the name Bibi. And here is the link where you can apply via Handshake for on-campus jobs.
Okay, thank you. Next question on employment. After how many semesters can I apply for a CPT for an internship or co-ops?
Generally speaking, internships are offered after you have completed one academic year in your current program of study. This is for bachelor students, but for graduate students, it may be different. For example, if you are in a nursing school or things like that, and if you are I'm just giving you as an example, hypothetical example, I've never had this. And if you are in the nursing school and if your course requires, your academic catalog requires you to do internship at an outside hospital, then yes, it can be, you can get CPT even in your first semester. So it all varies. But as a general rule, you have to finish one academic year in your current program of study, and it should not be in your final semester.
Thank you, Padma.
Sure.
All right, questions are rolling in, so let me organize them a little better. Okay, so let's move on to holds. For example, insurance hold or orientation holds on the student account.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is, how can I get my insurance hold lifted for me to be able to register for classes?
Your insurance hold will be lifted once you pay the insurance fees. So your insurance hold, if you're a new international student, you will have a hold, and you will have a hold every single semester that you attend NMSU for insurance. And then that insurance hold goes away, as I said, when you pay the insurance fees in full. Something to note is you can pay the insurance fees in installments. You can pay it however you would like, but to get that hold lifted, you will need to ultimately pay the entire fee for insurance. So just be aware around October 19th for the fall semester, and I believe March 19th for the spring semester, that hold will come up if you have not yet paid your insurance, and it will prevent you from registering for classes. So again, you can pay it as you would like, but just make sure that that is paid before you sign up for classes for the next semester, because that may prevent you from doing so. And
Thank you,
one
Kylie.
other note is that the insurance hold right now, for those of you who have finished NISO, it's been moved to October 19th. So what that means is it will not affect you in terms of advising. You can still be advised if you finish NISO, then you're good to go. Your orientation hold from our office and your insurance hold have been moved. So you should be able to register for classes.
Right now, the insurance hold should not prevent you from registering for classes. If you have an issue with that, feel free to send us an email. It could be that some students, they had deferred their admission. So for example, a student applied for fall 2020 last year and they got admitted. So the hold was put in place back in 2020. But then they deferred the admission and decide to attend this semester. So the hold still had the old date from 2020, unfortunately. So it happens sometimes. So feel free to send us an email and we'll take care of that so you can register for classes.
Yeah, I would just re-emphasize though that if you have finished NISA so far, then I've gone in and I've moved both your orientation and your insurance hold. So the other issue that it could be is if you have not yet finished NISA Part 1, Modules 1 through 32. So if that's the case, make sure that you do that ASAP because school starts on Wednesday and you reach out to me to let me know that you have done that, and then I can get both your insurance and your orientation hold moved so you can register for classes.
Sounds good. Another question on the hold. So this question said, I have a registration hold on my account regarding the orientation. Will it be removed after this session today?
For that student, you can go ahead and send me an email. So I would need to look at your account. But again, if you finished modules 1 through 32, part 1 of NISO, then your orientation hold and your insurance hold have been moved to allow you to register for classes. So if you've not yet done that, that is probably what is preventing you from registration. But again, if you have done that, then send me an email and I'll check it out and see what I can figure out and get that hold removed as soon as possible.
Yeah, also, if you haven't submitted all the required documents on module number 33, then you will all continue to have a hold. Please submit them as soon as possible so that your hold can be lifted permanently.
Sounds good. Let's see, the next question, the topic is health insurance. So do we have to set up anything for the insurance or it's automatically issued and charged?
Matthew?
The charges for insurance are based on as students get enrolled. We provide Aggie Health and Wellness with the list of students as they enroll, and they upload them into the enrollment for the insurance, and then charges are assessed automatically by the university accounts receivable. One thing I did want to mention when we're talking about holds, insurance holds, the insurance hold, as Kylie mentioned, is removed once a student pays off that charge for insurance. Once they pay it off completely, the hold is lifted automatically by the system, and sometimes it takes anywhere from between 24 to 48 hours for that hold to be lifted by the system. It's automated. We no longer do it manually anymore. So just be patient. After you've paid your insurance, you got to give it a little bit of time for the system to reflect that payment, and then for the system to remove. Actually, it doesn't get removed. It just gets adjusted forward to the next semester. But that's how it works. So again, just be patient on that.
Thank you, Matthew. Next insurance question. When I go to my statement and payment history, I can see something called study abroad insurance with a price of $670. Is this the same insurance that we're talking about?
So I replied to this student directly, but if you are an exchange student, so that is a short-term international student for a semester or a year, then this webinar does not apply to you and you do not need to complete module 33. You were given those directions earlier, but just in case you ended up in this webinar, what the place you need to go to is you need to go to the Education Abroad program, and I believe the director, Erica Nicolaisen, you'll go ahead and speak with her regarding everything related to being an exchange student.
Right. So for F1 students, if you have an F1 visa, the health insurance charge will be $804, and it's not the same as the study abroad. Okay. And there was a question asking for the link to get the health insurance card. So I pulled up the slide right here. It's relationinsurance.com. And of course, you can also contact Aki Health and Wellness Center as well for any health insurance or health related questions. There should be your first point of contact. Okay. There are quite some unique questions about addresses. So the first one said, I need to fill an address on I-9 form, but I don't have a rental apartment yet. I will get it in 2 or 3 weeks. Is it all right if I fill the temporary address and update the address later?
I-9 is processed by HR. So please contact HR and they will be able to guide you with the address.
Okay. And another question about the address. For my address, should I put the one of my dorm?
If you're staying in the dorm, yes.
Okay. Let's see. There are some specific questions that I think doesn't apply to a lot of students. So for example, if you are on the K1 visa, I have noted down to follow up with you. So I will get back to you on that. And there was another question that says, after change from alien status, we will have in-state tuition. I don't know if this applies to a lot of students.
So let me clarify. If you are a green card, if your green card is approved, then yes, you have to go to the student records office and submit a proof of your green card. Until then, you will still be charged for out-of-state tuition charges. And once student records office will code you correctly, and from then on, you will be charged for in-state tuition. So please reach out to student records office. But if you have applied for green card, currently that is not a good grounds for you to get in-state.
So I'm not sure if this question was also referring to this slide, which is the tuition rate adjustment.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're an F1 student, you'll continue to be, non-resident status.
Yes.
So nothing changes about your status. You continue to be F1. But if you fall under these categories, like a Descubre, tuition rate, graduate assistant, international competitive scholarship recipients, or if you've graduated high school in New Mexico in the last academic year, if you fall under these categories, your tuition rate will be adjusted, not your status. Okay. I believe that is all I have. Let's see. There was another question about Social Security. It's kind of specific. It says, I have got a link and filled out the SSN form, but I don't know about the ending date of the teaching assistantship. So should the student put NA? And would they have to submit the application again?
I'm not sure what application the student is referring to, but if they can come on August 19th and submit an email with their assistantship offer, I can gladly answer their questions on August 19th. In the SSN form, it is quite simple and straightforward, and there is no question about the start date or end date of your employment. So I'm a little confused on that. So I would definitely talk to you on August 19th.
Perfect. Okay. Two more questions. This one is about the I-20. So my I-20 says English proficiency is required, but it also says student is proficient. So this means no need for the test?
That's a good question. So when you were admitted to an MSU, prior to your admission, you either had to submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. So this is where you're in the purple arrow, right below that, program English proficiency required. English proficiency notes, student is proficient. Yes, this is done because as an international student, each international student has to meet our guidelines for admission. At NMSU, we require that you submit IELTS or TOEFL score, or if you have graduated from an MSU high school, then you either have to submit ACT or an SAT score. But once you submit that, and then you are admitted to an MSU, which means that you are proficient in English. That is what it means.
I was wondering if Kylie could explain the English placement language test or the math placement test, since nobody has asked about it. Maybe it's a good thing. But if
Yeah.
you could give a quick, summary, that would be great.
Yeah, I do think one question, I think about the ELPT in the chat. But yes, the ELPT is the English language placement test. Please be aware that your I-20 and your admission letter are different in terms of what they say about whether you need to take the I-20 is not going to state if you need to take the ELPT. Your admission letter is going to say if you need to take the English language placement test. The way that that test is, like how it's decided who will take the test, it has nothing to do with TOEFL scores. So TOEFL scores are just an automatic requirement from NMSU. They just require those automatically. But the processing department here at NMSU, they'll get your application and they'll look at everything, and then they determine whether you need to take the English language placement test. And if you do need to take the English language placement test, then they will put that requirement in your admission letter. So if your admission letter says that you need to take the ELPT, then you do need to take the ELPT. If you are not sure if you need to take the ELPT, you can go ahead and email me and I will look at your student account, and then I'll connect you with the coordinator for the test. But the test is not coordinated by the international office. It's coordinated by the English department. So just be aware of that when you ask me for the ELPT information, I will go ahead and connect you to the coordinator in the English department for that test. The math placement exam, I believe it's very similar in terms of your application is looked at, and then if it's determined that you need to take the math placement exam, then that will likely also be stated in your admission letter. And if it's not stated in your admission letter and you're not sure if you need to take it, just wait, especially if you're an undergraduate, because advising will tell you. So you can go ahead and reach out to me if you want, but you should probably just wait, because you're going to get an email letting you know that you're being placed in the math placement course. And when you go to advising, when they talk to you about your advising appointment, they will also give you information at that point if you have not already taken the math placement exam.
Awesome, thank you. So I don't see any more questions, and if we didn't get to your questions on time or they're really specific, please feel free to email us. And thank you for your patience. Right now we're receiving a lot of questions, but we're trying our best. And then feel free to email. By now you know our email address, right? It's isss@nmsu.edu. And for some reason, if you have questions for undergraduate admissions, the email address is also listed right there, admissions@nmsu.edu. And for graduate school, their email address is gradinfo@nmsu.edu. All right. Before we let you go, I'll have Matthew, Kylie, and Padma send some closing statements.
Thanks, Bibi. Just real quick, there was one last question that came in. I'm sorry if you already answered it about how a student can get around town and campus. Did you see that?
Yes, I was about to drop the link.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
But go ahead. Yeah.
No. Yeah, drop the link. There you go. There's public transportation. Campus, normally, you can walk from one end of the campus to the other in about 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, there's Uber and Lyft. So yeah, there's ways to get around while you wait for your car to arrive. So yeah, thanks everybody for spending this time with us today, and for all the great questions. For those of you that are already here on campus, welcome. I hope you're finding things suitable, and again, thank you for your patience and understanding as we transition back into the office. I just want to reiterate the best way to get a hold of us right now is going to be through email, and provide your name and Aggie ID number and date of birth so we can better serve you. And hopefully, hopefully we'll be up and running smoothly very soon as we transition back onto campus. For those of you that are still out of the country and planning to come, safe travels, and let us know when you arrive so we can be sure that we know that you're here safely. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending this Zoom webinar. And it was a pleasure seeing you all, talking to you all. And if you have an assistantship, offer letter or an on-campus, I'm sure I will see you on August 19th. And I'm so glad to meet you all. Have a wonderful start to the academic year. Thank you.
Yes, welcome everyone. We are very excited to have you guys join us as new international Aggies. Just the biggest thing is make sure you are well prepared to start the semester. So again, can't say it enough, but if you have not finished part 1 of NISO, go ahead and finish that as soon as possible, so then you can get on your way to being advised and registering for classes. But other than that, we are looking forward to seeing you guys, and have safe travels if you're not yet here. And if you are here, enjoy Las Cruces before school starts and get curious.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to echo what Kylie was saying. Please finish your orientation as soon as possible, especially module 33, where you need to upload a video. I know today's the deadline to submit the documents. The one thing that we can be flexible on is the TB test. If you can't get it today, no worries, but go ahead and arrange it so you can upload whatever document you need. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great semester.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.